What's up, everybody? Sean Torres. I got a good friend of mine here today with me to talk about a pretty important subject. I got my buddy Kyle Christensen that if none of you do know him, you should reach out. Good resource, great guy to know. We've become friends as well as work together. He's helped me a lot with my company. A lot of I told you so's. He's been good at that on some of the bad decisions that I get to make.
Speaking of our call today,
yeah. Speaking of our of the context of this, I've been doing this, business thing now for 14 years and had some success. Obviously, I've had failures as well, and I really wanted to come on to this. Sales is my passion. I've been doing sales since I was, 17. It's something I've always been passionate about. And obviously in the beginning, I was not good at selling, and I kind of sucked and have had to work at getting better. I've always had the gift of gab and been able to talk to people, but that's kind of what one of the first things is understanding people and knowing how to build relationships, I think is critical. But, I look back at the beginning days of starting in telecom and building revenue and building a company. And at first, right, you're out there just trying to figure it out and sell whatever you can sell and, throw mud against the wall and hope it sticks. And when you start to figure that out and get it going, I think that we as owners and entrepreneurs can overcomplicate things by thinking there's an easier way.
And what's funny too is, you and I have talked about, as human beings, we don't like uncomfortable situations. But in sales, you are in nothing but uncomfortable situations.
Every day.
So just the idea of thinking about, I'm starting something where I'm always going to be fucking uncomfortable, right? Like the stress just to take that first step is impossible.
Yes. And I think we try to overthink it at times when sometimes people are just not ready to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's timing, some of it's education, some of it's understanding how we can help them, right? But I think that we try to get out and hire, I'll just say it, outsource SDR companies.
Well, it's the easy button, right? When something's hard, how do I make it easy?
How do I not do low-end work to get different results?
Well, and I want to stop you right there for a second, because the other day I was talking to one of my clients and they mentioned something that kind of grinded my gears a little bit, which was, I'm too good to make cold calls. And I get the idea, right? You're running a business, you're making money, you've got a lot of employees. But at the same time, if you ever get to a point in your business to where you think you are too good to do anything in your business, I think you've lost the hustle. You've lost the game.
Yes.
You just need to go to pasture, old man.
Complacency. Yes. of not wanting to do what it took to get you there. And I think that we've all thought about different ways to do that, right? And can we bring in an agency that can help us? And I'm not saying that agencies don't work for people, because I will tell you, I believe that there are organizations out there today that hire agencies and see success, or they wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and there's a lot of good for it too, because it's quick education.
Right.
Right. Because there's always an educational gap. A lot of people probably watching, they didn't have a sales beginning like you or I did, right? Like you started at Verizon, I was at Best Buy. Literally, it's a marketing-led growth business, right? You are just saying, here, make them buy something. That is how you start your career. But for others, where you were technical or you had some traditional education like finance or legal, you've never had to sell before.
Right. You've never had to go get the business, right? And you've always had that battle of like operations versus sales, and which one do you need? And they really need each other, because most salespeople, like myself, cannot function as well as my business partner and my business, me, from an operational perspective.
Yep.
So the yin and yang fix that, right? And I think as
Which
a
was
lot
a
of
benefit for you guys, right? You had a
yes,
little of the ops, a little of the sales.
we had abilities that we could both be strong at and work towards. And I think that
And you both
looking
had
at
vested interest.
yes, and I think looking at like I just went to a conference, had a lot of these IT owners asking me like, man, how do you scale your business? And, give me tips and tricks. And like a couple of the guys I was talking to, like I felt terrible to tell them that I feel what they should do is go hire a sales driven CEO and just be the operational side. It doesn't mean you can't be the owner and reap the benefits of what the expectations look like, right? And I think that we try to go out, and a lot of them, what they're doing is they're hiring these agencies, and I'm here to tell you guys that I don't think there's any secret to getting sales.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you hire an agency that is going to do outbound dialing for you, if you can't go into the client and build value and close on a consistent basis, and even if you can close and then you have to go deliver as well and onboard, like who's going to be selling while you're doing all that? Like you gotta figure that out and get the best advice I always give any young entrepreneur is like, if you're not going to sell and you're going to implement because you feel like you need to do it and you do it the best way, which this, most feel that they have to do those things. We know that as owners, like then hire salespeople, hire a good leader and build that. And, if you're going to use an agency, I will tell you as a person that has hired multiple agencies, and we just let an agency go recently. And I respect the hell out of the guy. We're not going to call names out, but at the same time, like I look at the results that were there and what the expectations were. And I think about, you're going to turn me over a bunch of people that I then have to take salespeople and make them call them anyway. Like, why would I not? And as I sat back the other day, I went in my sales office and I sat with my team and I said, it's been a while since I dialed. I'm going to sit down and dial with my team. And I dialed, and man, like, of course I enjoy it. I love it. I miss it. And I had success immediately. And I looked at all these things and tools and pay-per-click. And look, I built a multi-million-dollar business and have been consistent with 14 years of growth year after year, and not a small MSP, a big MSP. And it looks like we're going to finish this year at another 25% growth. And I've never done all those crazy pay-per-click and all these crazy tactics. I will tell you what I did. I came into work every day. I picked up the damn phone. I called people. I talked to them. I did what I said I was going to do. And even when they didn't want to buy from me, I called them again and again. And some of these, clients we have today, 3 years, 5 years of consistent calling. And I think that what we do, and even this agency's owner gave me some feedback and said, you will have more success when your sales professional. Tim, I'll give you an answer on that. What is the best question when hiring outsourced sales? Will you work performance-based? Easy.
So real quick though, reverse a little bit, right? Because I think there's gonna be some people on this call that aren't familiar with some sales terminology. So I think you're almost forgetting that there is a step of, what does that mean? What does performance-based mean?
So would you work in a manner that as I get deals and revenue, like do a revenue share? Why not? What are you doing with a sales professional that you are paying to close deals and help you work through getting deals? If you build an SDR team internally, why would you not compensate that person for the amount of meetings that they book and then pay them a small revenue share on the back end? Right? Like, why not do that?
So what you're really talking about is from a commission perspective, being heavily commissioned rather than a high base.
If you feel that you can build an SDR team and you are a fucking rock star and can go get business for any age, any organization, especially in our space, which we know that it can be profitable,
yes,
right? Why would you not do that? Like, I'm not saying you don't have to build a ramp.
Well, they're big contracts.
these are not cheap. I mean, the one we just had, we were spending $17,000 a month.
Well, let's just back up just a second because you said a lot of things, and I want to kind of unpack them a little bit. So, what you initially were talking about is the idea of an accidental entrepreneur, right? That's the old Michael Gerber E-myth, the idea that most of us are professionals, and we start off as consultants, and then our businesses become businesses, right? Kind of like you and Jimmy. It started off you and Jimmy, you knew voice, you knew phones, and you said, you know what? Let's just sell a couple and see what happens, right? It's the old fuck around and find out.
Yes.
But converting from a consulting model to a service model is a completely different business because you got mouths to feed. You've got cash flow to figure out. You've got all of this economics that you have to unpack. And that becomes a different business because you need to scale that, which means you need consistently new customers coming in the door, right? That's any of our businesses. I don't care if you're a general contractor. I don't care if you're a plumber. I don't care if you're
You need revenue
CFO.
coming in every month.
You need revenue coming in every month because the nature of your business is that customer is eventually going to stop buying from you.
Yes.
And that employee is not going to stop asking for a paycheck.
Right.
Right. So because you now have a fixed cost and a revenue stream that's basically doing this wave thing, you always need to be bringing in deals. So I think to help people that are watching, when you're always bringing in deals, that means you always have to be having activity to find those deals.
Yes.
So what happens is when we're trying to figure out, okay, where are those customers? Right? You hear some people call them hunters. You hear some people talk about business development reps or sales development reps. There's a level of sales methodology that is just one, targeting, right? That's sometimes marketing, that's sometimes lead generation. We're not going to get into those type of details.
Brand awareness.
Brand awareness, reputation, the billboards.
Market trends.
We can get into all that shit. But you need to know who your possible customers are. That can vary, right? Me in San Diego, I have a totally different type of customer than you over in Slidell.
Yes, 100%.
So you have to have such innate natures with either your community or your target market, right? Like for me, I do IT providers, right? You do a geographic area, right? People in your community. You have to have such well-documented profiles of the people you are targeting that someone that's going to be outsourced has to somehow absorb your community.
Yes. But I do think in different areas and different verticals and different people,
Yep.
and we talked about this on your show about the profile and how do you talk to them. And yes, we have to be highly adaptive to those scenarios.
Or just not waste your time scenarios.
Correct. Which part of becoming a sales professional
Yep.
is wasting time.
Yep.
And
You get the door shut on your face all day long.
But the majority of the organizations that I've watched fail and not scale is because they've been afraid to invest in sales and not get a return.
It's the fear of it's so fearful that they don't even want to try.
Right. They don't want to try it and they're like, whatever, I'm gonna get here. But why not make the investments in that sales department and learn and study the data and understand? It's kind of like when new software comes out as an IT provider and these upgrades and patch updates, and what do we have to do? We got to figure it out. We got to understand it. It breaks things.
Yeah.
That's why we have a career.
Yep.
And we go fix them and figure it out. Prospect ghosting. Tim, I call him 100 times. Of course, I'm an aggravating sales guy. I'll give you guys a great example.
Well, it just means no, not right
Not
now.
right now. I'll give you guys a great example. This is a great example and where I see some of the biggest pitfalls as a high-end sales guy. I called a guy last week, cold call. Guy took the meeting. You could tell he didn't want to take the meeting, but he did. Again, here's another problem with your agency model, SDR, because it's proven that just because they booked the meeting with you doesn't mean they're going to sit it, right?
Or doesn't mean they're qualified.
Or doesn't mean they're qualified either, because that happens too. Then you end up wasting a bunch of time. It's another reason that I feel that if you're going to hire an outsourced SDR company, you have got to pinpoint very specific metrics and understanding of what the results need to look like. Just like if you hire an inside person. So I've made that mistake.
What is an inside person?
An inside person dialing for
Okay.
you that works for you, that instead of being with an agency does it. But here's how you handle ghosting. I called the guy. He took the meeting. Friday morning, he confirmed the meeting the day before. Friday morning, 8 a.m., I get on the Teams call. The guy doesn't show. He ghosts me. So I shot him a few text messages. Didn't respond. So Monday morning, I called him. He didn't answer. Monday afternoon, I sent him a text and said, hey, Joe, I had a meeting with you Friday. I would really appreciate it if you would have showed up to the meeting, or at least let me know that you weren't going to show up. Just like you're busy, I'm busy too. I hope you wouldn't burn my time. He then responded and said, I apologize. Something came up. I totally lost track. I'm actually going to have to pass for now. Where most reps would go from there is they would stop and say, okay, thank you. I then responded, well, clearly you had interest. That's why you took the meeting with me. Is it okay if we go ahead and put something on the calendar for me to reach out to you in January, and let's talk and let's see if we can have a fit then? I know you got Christmas. I appreciate that, man. I know it's the end of the year. Everybody's busy trying to close their year out. He then responded, absolutely. I sent him a meeting invite. He accepted. Now, he may ghost me again. I will have to call him again. The Mercedes-Benz Superdome is a client of ours. They've been a
only a
client now.
small client.
Yeah, only a small client.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't talk about LSU.
Right, or LSU, right? I assure you, the first time that we talked to them and scheduled a meeting, they didn't show. We had to chase them down, and we had to work through the deal. Most people give up prior to then, and that's where you hear all this messaging about the follow-up. It's not no, it's when. And if you just continue to follow up and check in, eventually one day something's going to happen and they're going to have a need for it. And that's where I think teaching.
Well, let's unpack that psychologically. So what happens, and I've seen this time and time again, by the way, because you see all these people that say, oh, cold calling's dead. Cold calling's dead. By the way, if you hadn't seen, Google just completely revamped how they're doing spam filtering, and they're going to cut 2/3 of email out of inboxes starting January 1st. So if you think all of those email blasts are going to get you by, it's going back to old school hustle.
I get probably 30 to 50 cold emails in my inbox with your dumb cadences that then say you didn't get my message, and you try to play this chat GPT trickery in the subject line.
And it just looks like trickery.
And I don't even respond. And some of them are so bad that they even look similar to the next company, and you can tell they're copying and pasting and using it.
So real quick, though, I want to get back to where I was going, which was going to the ghosting problem, right? We have this innate thing where we are afraid to ask, right? We get ghosted. Let's go back to the dating world, right? She doesn't text you. She doesn't text you back. And I know that there's some controversial stuff in this, but if you don't try again, right, you never have a chance of building a relationship.
Ever.
So in the sales world, it doesn't change. Just because they missed the meeting, it could be genuine. It could be they're skeptical about who you are, right? That's where marketing becomes important, is breaking down the skepticism.
Well, it's called nurturing.
It's a nurturing thing. But if you are afraid to just do a follow-up of saying, that kind of hurt, man. Why did you ghost me? Just like what you did, right? But what happens in the human brain, for those who are risk averse, right, where they're like, hey, I can't handle it, you actually have a chemical go off in your brain called cortisol. That's the fight or flight hormone in your brain. So what happens is when you get to a point where your brain recognizes something that's going to cause cortisol, it's going to make you run before you even approach the situation.
Yes.
So you have to get to a point where you train your own brain to not generate cortisol. And the only way by doing that is doing it 1,000 times over.
Yes.
Which
just
means,
like how many times people told me no.
Yes.
And I had to find ways to turn a no into yes, and teach myself how to even train the person to, yes, expect your phone to ring. Yes, Tim. Like, don't hesitate to even navigate. I think another thing that where a lot of people fail in effective cold calling, effective selling, navigate an organization. I'll give you an example. I was trying to set a meeting with a healthcare provider that was spending time on our website.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out where to go. So I figured out who the director of nursing was. I figured out I could probably call her, and most people are probably not cold calling the director of nursing. So I called her. She took my call. I remember her name, Amy. Hey, Amy, this is Sean. You're not expecting my call. Can you help me out with something? Would you mind helping me with something? It is natural psychology that when someone says, can you help me with something, they will help you. kind of like stopping in the store and saying, or asking for directions, right? They are going to give you directions.
Well, that's our nature, right? We want to help.
And I'm asking for directions. So I said, if I was interested in talking to somebody that manages technology for your organization, who would I need to talk to? She immediately spit out Richie Glorioso. Immediately. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Then I was able to figure out how to get in touch with Richie, set a meeting, and we met, and it was a great meeting. So like most people would have called there, and I've heard this call even in my own organization. Hey, Bob, this is Sean with Intellicom. We do IT and managed services and VoIP and security. Who would I need to speak to there? Like, of course, that gatekeeper is getting that call all day. They are going to probably hang up on you and say they're not interested or say they have a contract already.
Well, and that's having something to help somebody with as the intention of why you're calling. So I was listening to the Alex Ramosi podcast. It was like a quick 4-minute thing he does on Apple. And he mentioned that if you genuinely don't believe in the product you are selling as someone that is a sales rep, then there is no possible way that you can come off genuinely to another human being that it is a genuine product.
No.
So because what my brain goes, right, I always like to play devil's advocate here. A lot of people listening might hear cold calling and go, oh, you're being slimy, you're being aggressive.
Are you?
But does your business require sales to grow? 1, to feed mouths in your organization, 2, but then continue that forward. You might have a really good fucking product that's you can say, I've seen your hospital, I've been in the operatory, there's a mess of cables, the stuff doesn't work. I want to do your IT because you provide a service to these small businesses in the Slidell area.
Yes, Justin, I agree. They will ghost you. Find a way to see them somehow. Go to the events. Be present. I still do that today. I am present at events and at things that I know they'll be at. Why do you think when you go to a conference, and I'm sure a lot of people watching right now have been to conferences, everybody walking by you is not looking at you. They're looking at your badge to see if your badge says your name and CEO of some sort, and they'll immediately start talking to you.
Well, but I think there's something here, right? Because if you're cold calling and you're just going through the phone book A through Z, there's no strategy in that, right?
No.
Now, to your point, this is I think a good lesson. If you are going to apply a cold calling regimen, if you know that your CEO was at an event and the CEO goes, hey, I saw this person, I met this person, I met that person, you now have a genuine reason to have a conversation with somebody, right? And if you are at that event, you even have more genuine needs that you can reach out and say, hey.
Call with intent.
Yes.
So many sales
and
folks.
make it transparent.
Yes. So many sales folks, like they hear, I got to make, 50, 100, 200 calls a day. And they're not calling with intent.
It's just to check the box.
It's to check the box. And if you are in sales and you think that you are going to just reach out to a bunch of people and, try to get a sale, I will tell you, I have watched reps in my own organization get a sale that way. You can do it.
Yeah.
Somebody, like every now and then a squirrel gets a nut, right? Like it will happen. But if you build good list of targeted account-based clients that you want to work with, and you know that you can solve a problem for them because you've solved it for their competitor, someone in the same industry, whatever it may be, right? You've been in their facility and seen how terrible it is. Like, use that as ammunition and call with intent and tell them. And of course, 90% of the time, they're going to say, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well, rewind it. So Dan Sullivan, the popular, if you don't know Dan Sullivan, go read his stuff. He's built, if you've ever heard of things like EOS and scaling up, he was the coach for all those guys. So go look him up. He talks about buying your customers.
Yes.
And the idea behind that is exactly what you're saying, which is if I'm selling to somebody, right, I'm hoping they will buy me. But if I want to buy my customers, it's because I genuinely want to work with them, right? I am ready to stake my claim on building a relationship with somebody else, which means I know I can help them.
And you need to know that you can help them before you just go throw numbers at them or quotes at them and just like rush into it. And so many reps want to just take a meeting because the person said okay, but then like always ask the question, like, what do you plan to tell them now when you get in front of them and you have to actually sell to them and you have to understand their world, and like what is your plan? So you should go into your meetings with a plan, whether that be to gain insight, understand information, understand their growth plans, whatever that may be, right? Like understand those things. Therefore, you have some data that then you can now, I like to tell everybody, like when you're selling to people, you're building a case.
Yes.
Right? Like the guy that Richie Glorioso, told me on the phone last week, Sean, look, man, we already have a vendor that does that. And I laughed. And of course it shocked him.
Yeah.
And I said, Richie, of course you have a vendor. We have over 978 contracts to date. Every one of them had a vendor prior to us meeting.
Yep.
So we understand that, and we appreciate
who doesn't have
that.
IT at this point?
Right.
You know,
most people do.
Yeah.
Some sort. Right.
Everyone has a car. Doesn't mean you're not going to go shop for a new car.
Right. So it's. I think that if you just are genuine, and I told Richie, I appreciate that you have a vendor. I appreciate that you're loyal. What I'm looking to do is just introduce who I am, let you know a little bit about me. I'd like to learn a little bit about you, and like, let's just see if there may be a fit in the future. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't.
Well, if you unpack this just a little bit, so one best practice I've seen that happens in businesses that do cold calling really well is you have to be excited about what you're selling.
Yes.
And a pivotal part, getting a little nerdy with you, it's called product market fit. It's taking my product that I sell and making it better, ultimately. Have your sales reps, people calling, sitting side by side with your operations team and your client success teams to see the customers truly getting wins out of your product.
Yes.
And what they're going to do is they're going to call that client and go, what was his name? Richie, I'm not going to lie. We were working with this other hospital. I was on this call the other day with their client success rep, and wow, we actually increased the amount of patients they were able to see per hour because of the technology improvements that we did that actually allowed them to give raises and bonuses to all the nurses. Because they're genuinely going to see that, and the human response is going to be going, holy shit, we do something different that nobody else does.
And remember, everybody, I want you to hear something. Kyle is talking with enthusiasm. He's using the word wow. This is exciting. This is cutting edge.
But it's genuine, right?
It's genuine. Like, get excited about talking to them about what you have and be so confident in what you're talking to them about.
Yeah.
To where, like, it's almost like, what? You're not going to talk to me? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind that you're not interested in seeing what we can do? Like, and say that. Well, I've said that and it works. I'm like, I don't think that any outsourced SDR company is going to ever be excited about dialing for a company that they don't work for.
That they have no insight.
There's no insight. There's no interest. There's
no.
You can't even.
Well, let's back it up real quick because I know where you're going to go, but putting it into a context. If you have reps that are going to evolve into account executives, right? The people that close deals in your business, the only way they can be excited about your product is to see the wins between the dials.
Yes.
And this is actually where Adam Slutskin, right, a good friend of both of ours, he was the CRO for a company in Tampa, Florida, for those of you that aren't technical, that ended up selling for $3 billion. So he kind of knows what he's doing. He's a firm believer that you can't build a sales team work from home. You can't build them remote because of the mentorship that happens between an SDR and an account executive, where when they're ringing the gong, right, and they're saying, oh my God, this client literally just saw more patients, which helped our community because now more people are getting healthcare faster. You can't see that in a work from home world.
No, like you got to get excited about, like, you think about the wins, and I love it. When you hear a rep and they get pumped up. TC reached out to me today and said he had the best meeting he's had ever today, and like wanted to talk to me about it. You could hear the enthusiasm in his voice, and like, you as sales professionals should be excited about a meeting. Just don't smoke too much opium where you're hoping that the deal's going to close, right?
Well, yeah, don't celebrate till there's ink on the paper.
Till there's ink on the paper. But again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be excited. Yes, speed interview spots filled up first. Here's how these. Yes, 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 Tim. You know, you got to be excited about sales. You got to be excited about what you're doing. For those that are getting into sales and want to be a sales professional, like, get comfortable with dialing. Get comfortable with working the phone. I tell every new salesperson that comes in an organization, like, we dial. You know, my dear friend who works with me as my strategic sales director out of Ohio, Brett. I love Brett. He's probably watching this right now. I hope he is. And
Brett, tell us if you are.
Yes, tell us if you're watching, Brett. I love you, man. But you know, he even quick comment to me one day. We were talking to the most successful rep at 5'9", which is one of the largest call center companies in the world. He's the most successful rep in the Southeast, and we were just chatting about sales and what works. And he flat out said, the reason that I make $500,000 a year, I don't rely on an SDR to make me money. I dial. And I go at it every single day.
Yep.
And I will tell you, as a person that has done millions of dollars worth of business over the past 14 years, dial.
Yeah.
Kyle, you said it. We've thought that we could go build these systems and cold email and all this,
which worked for a little bit.
I'm not saying it doesn't work still, because it can happen,
but it takes volume.
Takes volume,
and most of us can't handle volume. Like so, real quick, backing that up, there's 4 types of businesses in this world on how you grow. There's sales-led growth, marketing-led growth, product-led growth, and founder-led growth. So, good examples: founder-led growth, Elon Musk. You need social clout. None of us are Elon Musk, right?
No.
You're not generating those leads.
No.
Product-led growth, great example. HubSpot. How many you will never see a HubSpot ad, but people know what it is. We are never going to be those companies, right?
No.
Marketing-led growth. You know what the example is? Retail.
Yes.
Why? Verizon, right? Both of our respective.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. They pump so much money into marketing, meaning ads and commercials, right? Why did I walk into a Best Buy in the early 2000s? In the Sunday ad in every single city in the United States, there was an ad that said how much a product was.
I will tell you firsthand, last quarter, I set on fire $75,000 trying to do pay-per-click, worked it every which way, up and down, left and right, and got 0 opportunity. So those of you that think that you can go inject money into marketing and get a return, show me, teach me, reach out, please. My handle's on the screen. Let me know what works. I'm more than willing to dump $100,000 a month to get ROI. But again,
it takes volume. That's what it is.
I still believe that what works.
But here's the thing, though, real quick. Marketing-led growth means that someone knows they want to buy something from me.
Yes.
So sales-led growth is the last one. Sales-led growth is any type of business that's selling something where someone can't just say, I want to buy your services. I have to explain to them, I have to consult with them on why it is we want to work with each other. I hate to say it, that's like 90%. I'm using a fake number here. It's like 90% of businesses, probably more.
Yes, probably more.
Because if you think about the average business in the United States, it's something like 78% or less than 9 employees. And if you go to 20 employees, it's like 93%.
Yes.
So I could just by those employee numbers, I can tell you right now, we don't have the capital to go after marketing.
No. I think marketing is a great component of your business. And when you look at the
reputation, brand, my business card online.
But I think that at the end of the day, I think as you scale your business, you tend to start thinking, like I was talking about earlier, what you can do. You can bring in these other things. And I'm not saying that they cannot be an add-on of what you're trying to do, but I do believe that firsthand, spending $17,000 a month. If I was to spend,
real quick, I told you so.
Yes, you did say. If I was to spend that for a year, 90 days, how much revenue I'm going to have to go sell a big ass contract, which big contracts are not fucking buying from you via an SDR. Prove me wrong. SDR companies that are watching, come show me, and I'll give you the damn net income off the damn contract for the life of it. Prove it to me, because I don't believe it. And if you've never done this business and you don't understand it, I don't care what you say. Yeah, you can get there if you give it time. But the amount of time and money that I'm going to have to put into that to get the return back, I could have taken that same $17,000 a month, brought in a great sales representative from Southeastern. Tim, I know you're watching. He runs a great sales training program at Southeastern. You could put that in, bring one of them in, teach them how to dial, and be patient with them. And they get to do it all day long, and they get to see the wins with the sales reps. They get to go work with them, and it will work. And I've overthought this so many times on how to do it. And I go back, and I had this gentleman try to tell me that within my business that I haven't seen success from other reps, and I will call bullshit all day. I will invite you to come to my office, and I will introduce you to some stone cold killers that are making great money. Billy, I hope you're watching. TC, Carl, you guys are rock stars. Y'all kill it. We just hired another round of rock stars that are going to kill it. When you have a good trainer like Kara that can come in and show them on how to do it and make the invested, right? You move from founder-led, sales-led.
So real quick, let's unpack this, because I think we have about 20 minutes left just to time check you. I think Tim's question is exactly what would have value from this call, right? And I think, thank you, Tim, for actually asking this, is if we start from scratch, right? We are 2 employees, 3 employees. I want to scale my business, and I'm enticed by agencies because I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? I'm the consultant. I'm the general contractor. I'm the CFO that wants to start an accounting firm. And I know how I've started mine, and I know how you started yours. How do you make that transition?
Look,
where do you start? Day one.
I think day one.
What's the first thing you do?
The advice that I give to everybody is, if you are a founder-led sales organization, I would bring in a sidekick. I would spend every minute and waking hour with them, showing them the value that we bring to our clients. I would mentor them. I would be patient with them. I would work with them and coach them and build it and start there. Because I think that where I made mistakes as a founder-led sales org is I could do it better than everybody. It's just like the guys in the engineering side that don't want to hire engineers because they get pissed off because they can do it better. Like, of course you can do it better. You're the owner. You have a monetary commitment to that thing, and if it doesn't make money, so it's going to fail.
Yep.
You're going to have people that don't do a good job. You're going to have people. You just got to bite the bullet.
You're going to have lost opportunity.
You're going to have lost opportunity, and you got to be okay with it. And it sucks, and it's miserable, and it takes time. And unpacking it, like, I think the biggest thing that
real quick, unpacking that, you're hiring basically what some in the sales industry would call an SDR or a BDR, right? Like someone to help the closer.
Yes.
And I think this is where the birth of this position really came into place, right? Was you can't just hire a closer.
No.
And honestly, I say that, and I know a lot of people will probably argue. And if you in the chat right now, you feel free to argue with us on this. To innately be excited about a product that you are selling, you have to genuinely have a knowledge, an innate knowledge of just what the business is, especially if you're a service business.
Yes.
Right? Because there's so many complexities to it.
Yes.
So if you're going to be excited about it, you got to understand how to drive value, how to tell people, because communication's a bitch, right? I say one thing and you're going, I have no idea what the hell you just said.
And most people that you hire are going to say, yeah, I got that. And they don't.
In most businesses, we're hiring people 18, 20,
yes,
21.
But even adults, like it takes time to get there. And I think that making the leap and getting there, and look, at the end of the day, one of my reps sent me a link, and it's a YouTube short with Mark Cuban talking about when he bought the Dallas Mavericks for $325 million, and he just got a huge transaction, by the way.
Yeah.
But he paid $325 million. So
Mark Cuban, if you're in the chat,
of course, Mark Cuban had money, and he wanted to get sales for the Dallas Mavericks. So he went and sat his ass in the sales department and picked up the phone and started dialing alongside his sales team and having conversations to get traction and to get excitement and to get wins. So I think that another thing that you have to do to migrate out of that, and I've had to do this myself, is yes, you will have to start some things and allow some other people to finish them and give them some wins and show them what that feels like to win. Get them fired up and get them excited.
Well, they need a dopamine hit.
Yes,
Like,
they all need it. They need the big check. They need to get the big damn check. Like, you gotta figure out how to get there. You'll get excited and feel like you're ready to take on the world. Yes, it's true, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
Like, you gotta get fired up, man. Like, get passionate about what we do. Like, I will say, thinking about the MSP space for a second.
Outsourced IT, for those of you that aren't in that.
Yes. Like, we do some pretty cool shit, man. Like, we create efficiencies for business to be able to operate and make money. We give them business continuity. We give them streamlined operation efficiency that they can grow and scale and go make damn money. Like, it's pretty badass. Get excited about the things that we get to do for those companies. Keep them safe. Keep them going. Make sure that their information is straight. And if you're not doing that as an MSP and streamlining all operations for them, like, you're doing yourself disjustice. Get some damn business acumen, build some damn badass dashboards for them to give them insight in their business. Give a shit about it. Look at it. Help them understand where they're wrong.
Stop. Give a shit.
Give a shit. Yes.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I see businesses get to a point to where the customer basically falls out and they're just a number in the system. And that can be easy for an owner, right? So going back to the founder-led sales. And
I made that mistake too.
Yes. And as you go up the ladder, right? And it's not that we do it on purpose. You just grow your business. You need employees. You need scale.
You think you can control all that. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I thought I could control that, Kyle. I thought I could do it all.
Yep.
I thought the sales reps would care about the client like I did. And they didn't.
Why?
They're not emotionally. It's a transaction for them. And, like, I hate to say it, some of them are money driven and they want to get the money. And yeah, GSD, we get shit done, Taylor. Yes. But, like, what do? We had to pivot. We made mistakes and we lost some clients and we had to build a client success team. And if you're not willing to make an investment in your damn business and a good client success team to make sure you're taking care of your clients and they are advocates for the client, Alexandria?
Oh, I know. She's
where do you find your rock stars?
Sales manager.
You build your rock stars.
Boom.
You don't find rock stars, you build them, because rock stars already have a job, rock stars already making money, and they're not going to leave. Yes, you can find them. They are probably going to ask you for a shit ton of money, because if a good salesperson is working in an organization making $300,000 a year, why the hell would they quit and go work for you? They're not.
Well, like, or why are you going to? So let's say there are rock stars out there. What is it? 5% of your possible recruits, 10% of your possible recruits. So now you're putting a limitation on your business to where I can't grow my business because I have to wait to find a unicorn in order to grow.
It's the same thing we've done in the tech space with hiring engineers and technicians. We think we're just going to go hire this L3 and we're going to pay them $180,000 a year. Yeah, you will go broke trying to build that model in your business as you scale it. I've made the mistake. Take good L1s, train them, invest in them, spend time with them, create that. I'm not saying you don't need that high-level mentor to get them there, but someone's got to do it. And when you can build rock stars in your organization, and yes, they will leave. And it sucks when you invest your money in a rock star and they leave. It's terrible. Yes, Michael Streeter is a rock star.
So real quick though, I want to make a comment on that because someone made an analogy. So Alex and I's podcast that we do, we brought Peter Kajawa on, fantastic individual. He made it a small business analogy that was beautiful, which is most small businesses, we aren't NFL teams. We're college football teams. Your employees, you have 4 years to make them rock stars and to win the game. You have 4 years to win the championship.
I like that.
Right? Do the best you can to get them to an enterprise career and then recognize they're going to disappear. And just like the easy button, like the conversation we were having with agencies, there is no easy button to training employees. There is no easy button to getting someone in their 4 years from freshman to senior to make them that rock star to get drafted into the NFL.
You can't, like, it's impossible, right? You can't.
Well, it's not that it's impossible. It's impossible to think that it's just going to happen. It's going to be easy.
It's like you can't force having a child. It's 9 months. Right? Does it happen early? You can't force it.
Can't make
right?
it faster.
You can't make it faster. You can't get pregnant faster. Like it happens, right? So I think that
or you need to have an employee journey, right? The whole and selfish plug.
So you know, Mark, what's up, Mark? How's it going, buddy? How do you differentiate your solutions? You know, I think that depends on the solution that you're bringing to the table for the client. I don't like to try to differentiate my solution. I like to educate the client on how my solution fits to them and educate them on what we do different in a sense of, hey, you can hire an IT company. They're going to fix your computer. They're going to do patch updates. They're going to give you EDR. They're going to give you help desk, tickets, all that. Duh. They all do. Congratulations. You know, I there's an old saying that Gary Vee said, and it says that hiring is guessing and firing is knowing.
I like that.
And it's true.
I like that.
Let me show you what I can do, and let me prove to you that I can service you in a way that I can give you dedicated support, that I'm going to give you a dedicated client success manager that's going to review things. We're going to screw things up, and they're going to be there to make it better. We're going to respond. We are going to be there within a time frame. We make investments in our business. We do audits on our own business. I can show you the things that we're doing, and like, it's not a secret. I'm not doing any secret voodoo to get business. I've tried the secret voodoo with outsourced SDR companies, and it's a joke and it doesn't work. And I wish somebody would comment in there to tell me that it works.
So real quick though, you said some stuff. I'm going to cut you off because you're a talker. We do this in any type of business. I don't care. Again, we're not just talking MSP and IT here.
No.
Because we're all professionals. We all love our craft. But you know what your customers don't love? Your craft.
No.
And Wes Spencer, him and I and Alex, we've been making this joke lately to when we hear some of the times professionals talk, the one thing that's in our head the whole time, shut up, nerd. Because when you said something earlier about when you're talking to your client, you're communicating to your client, you need to communicate with them how they hear, right? Which means if I'm a business owner and I want to sell them accounting services, I want to sell them a new office, a new AV setup, I need to talk to what pulls their heartstrings. And that, you know what that business owner cares about? Making money and paying their employees and growing their company.
People buy from people they like. When Jimmy and I first started in telecom, we were the worst technicians that didn't know what the hell we were doing, that had a shit voice product that we took an IP office and put it in a data center and hung some H323 extensions off of it that was terrible, had no functions, no features, no nothing. And I won deals every day. I built a $5 million company on that. $5 million of recurring revenue on that. I didn't differentiate anything. I was different. I was exciting when I talked to people. I was excited to help them. And I remember going to put the systems in, and I don't know what the hell I was doing. Jimmy would be putting them in, and I would just go there and like have fun and like make everybody laugh and like pull their strings, like understand that. And I think that's where we as sales professionals try to like build this pitch and this differentiator and all this.
I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get objection handling to work.
just be a good person and like be cool and like want to talk to them.
When do you let someone go?
When do you let someone go? Well, I've made that mistake early. I've made that mistake late. I think that you have to understand when it's time. There's never a good time to let someone go because it never feels good letting anyone go. It's terrible.
Can I try to put markers on this?
Yes.
When you have a clear definition of what winning is, and when they see that they're not winning, objectively, right? It is black and white that they're not winning, and they don't give a fuck. When they don't want to get better.
You know what? I'll speak to it because I fired someone today. I let a sales manager go today. And some of my reps that are watching probably don't even know this yet because it just happened not too long ago. Been there 8 months. Obviously some struggles. I gave him clear direction and on Friday, and we talked about some MITs, which are most important things that we're going to do over the next 2 weeks. I'm not a big fan of 1 week turnaround time, y'all. Like 1 week, it's hard, right? You're busy, you got things going on.
I
like
can't even get to some emails on
right, like don't give people realistic timelines, and make sure that you're helping the. One of his metrics that he wanted to put in play, that he wanted to get perfect in 2 weeks, was he wanted to have 100% of his team's Salesforce updated and notes there. And I'm like, buddy, how about we get to like 80%? What about 50% today? Why don't we get to 80 and be happy with that?
let's make everyone feel like shit doing a goal that they just can't achieve.
Right. Like 100% is not realistic.
Yeah.
And today I called to check in with him, and like hadn't done any of it, I was like, man, help me understand like what we can do to keep you here. What are you managing? Asked him a few questions about reps and meetings he went on with the reps, and tell me about the meetings and how can we help the rep, and blah, and just nothing. So like we knew at that moment that it's not going to change, right? And again, you never want to put someone in that place, but at the same time, like we as owners get emotionally attached to people, and it's expensive. And you cannot get that emotionally attached to things that aren't helping you, and you outgrow employees, and it happens.
The people that got you here won't get you there.
No, I can assure you of that in a scaling business. And I can tell you it is super hard, and it's terrible. You feel terrible. And sometimes you got to make cuts to make investments. Look at NFL teams. They cut. The Saints are talking about trading Alvin Kamara out to make salary cap.
The Padres are going to trade Juan Soto.
Right. Like it's reality, y'all. Like this is business, and like we're here to make money. So when do you let someone go? We all have been in a place where we know it is time.
And you don't do it.
And you don't do it.
Well, and you and I in the hallway were talking. There was this experience, unfortunately, I had to do in 2009 where there was a store Best Buy was sending me into, and they knew it wasn't going to be turned around. I was the turnaround guy. They just knew it wasn't going to happen. But they said, Kyle, make it crawl for like 90 days. Make it just crawl it for 90 days because the lease was coming up. I had to let go of all 50 people in a single day.
It's terrible.
But when you get to a certain size, yeah, terrible. It's why I ended up leaving Best Buy, because I just couldn't stomach it to a point. At that scale, no one should ever experience that. But there is a point to where you have to recognize that you are risking your entire business because of some of those lagging performers.
Yes. But if you're not building metrics to help
if it's not objective, then yeah.
If you don't have metrics to help your people understand what success looks like and what they should be doing, and have clear expectations that communicated, I've made that mistake too, and let people go, and it's my fault that I did that. Make sure that you're giving your sales folks clear expectations. What should they be doing per week? What should they be doing per day? We are not in a transactional business as MSPs, and we're not going to transact every single day. But I will tell you, we got something on the screen here. It's hard to see that.
Sorry.
Let's see what it says. How do you qualify your prospects? We have
we have 5 minutes, by the way. So questions on the screen. We have about 5 minutes left. So let the questions go, and we'll get to a Q&A section.
Yeah, real quick.
How do you qualify your prospects?
How about revenue? How about, can they afford me? How about how many people do they have?
What are their goals?
What are their goals? Do they want to make investments in their business? Do they get technology? Do they like it? Are they relying on technology? I had a dentist office tell me one day, oh, we don't need an MSP. And I said, oh, you don't need an MSP. But if I was to unplug your server, you can't service any of your clients. Is that right? He said, yeah. I'm like, well, no, you need an MSP, because if I unplug your network, you're down. Is that not a problem? And again, there's longer conversation, but yes, he ended up signing with us and is a client today. So again, I think that, our biggest objective of doing this today is that, I love giving back and having an understanding of how I can help someone. And I hope that I can help people. You know, I'm not the best. I'm not the biggest. I'm not the smallest. But I do have a loud voice, and I'm willing to speak my mind on what works and what doesn't work. And that doesn't mean that it will work for you or won't work for you.
So I got a question for you. Going back to the question that we had by Alex, how do you build rock stars? So you talked about bringing someone in to be attached to the hip, to see what you're doing on day one. What is it that you're looking for in that early rep that's going to identify to you that they are a rock star? Or rock star potential, maybe?
They're asking questions. They are intimately obsessed with every single aspect of the things that you're doing throughout the day.
Just keep going, keep going.
And I assure you that if you just, you will recognize when someone is just in it and just wants it and is coachable and listens and gets excited to come to work. And it's not work. Like when you love what you do and you're passionate about the things that you bring to the table, like that's all it is, man. And I think that's where, like,
let's get some context to this. I can think back to an assistant that I had, where in the first week that they worked for us, not only had they knocked out 100% of their training, and I was looking and they were working like 10 hours a day to take all that training, they were coming to me and saying, what else can I learn?
yes.
Can I go sit with another department? Like they're asking me these questions where I'm going, holy crap, right? Like, I never thought you'd want to like see this type of shit, right? They start to get like, I remember this one employee to the point where they said, I want to go watch the sales team, and they're a tier 3 engineer. Well, why the hell do you want to hang out with the sales team? I don't understand the product we sell. Which one was a mental note, I need to teach product in the first week of employment, but two, I'm going, holy crap. Now, you're not going to find those rock stars sometimes. So in the recruiting process, I always see this fear of hiring. And I think there's it's the old adage, hire slow, fire fast. Yeah. You can spend all day looking for a unicorn, but sometimes you're going to have to try 3, 4, 5 people before you find that rock star. And going back to, when you're going to let someone go, you got to be able to let someone go to go find that rock star.
And you know when you got a grinder there, man, that just like, and in sales, I don't care what anybody says, if you want to be successful, you got to be a grinder. You got to get up every day.
I think just in good employees, a grinder.
Yes.
I don't care if you're in finance and you're sitting there trying to get through your AR and you're going, this client doesn't want to fucking pay me, but you call them every single day to get their credit card number. That's a grinder.
Look at all the people we have in our organization that are successful. They're grinders. Angela, Frank, Stacy, you grinders. They're grinders.
Yep.
And they're Devin, Ronnie. I can Curly, like Christian. I could sit Michael Streaker, Taylor. You're a grinder. Taylor's on this with us right now. You know, like
right now it's 8 o'clock at night, and he's helping us with this.
Our marketing director helped us get this going as we get it live. Like,
by the way, Taylor, we are at time, just so you can let us just give you a heads up.
Well, look, I appreciate everybody for chiming in. Look, if anybody ever has questions, feel free to reach out. My handle's on the screen. I'm very easily accessible.
Your name's only like a giant portion of this.
Yes, I'm very easily. Message me. I will respond. Ask Mark. Mark came and met me in New Orleans and had lunch with me last week so we could talk, and he could ask me questions about helping in sales.
Mark's a grinder.
Yeah, and he's a grinder, right? He wasn't afraid to reach out. Kyle's very easily accessible. What activities should we see in people? I think you should look for volume, calling, meaningful conversations, lead conversions. In our world, lead conversions means someone took a meeting. How many meetings are they running? Then take how many meetings they're running versus how many quotes they're creating. Take the quotes they're creating and turn that into how many quotes they're winning. And then you do what my great friend Kyle would tell you is build a quota and hold them to it. So,
well, at least they know what good is.
Yes.
Right? That's the whole reason. Quotas, 9 times out of 10, quotas aren't hit.
No.
But you know what? They're hit 90%.
Yes.
90% is enough, because if you do it right, 90% gets you there. 100%, everyone's going
Well,
to the
you're going to have
Bahamas.
other reps that go above and beyond,
Yeah.
and it's all going to work out.
It's a lot of outreach.
So again, look, if anybody's got questions, feel free to reach out. I'm an open book of knowledge. I will give you the best advice that I can give you. Reach out to Kyle. Kyle, you want to let him know how to get a hold of you?
Taylor, if Taylor could put my name in chat, Sean beautifully introduced me. I'm not going to hold him to it. My name's Kyle Christensen.
I did introduce you, didn't I?
No.
Oh, shit.
You were just on it, but, but anywho, you guys know how to get a hold of me. I'm all over LinkedIn if you can't tell at this point, but notes in the chat.
Yeah, any help y'all need, again, we're here to help. Thank y'all so much for joining tonight. Peace. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Take care. Stay accountable.